So Tamir Rice's mother let it be known publicly that she didn't approve of you being part of Little Baby's performance at the Grammys. She called you a clout chaser. How did that make you feel?
So, just the whole conversation, Jemele, around this is painful to even discuss because unfortunately you have to fact check it all. And I have to set the record straight in order to deal with it. And I don't want to, right? And many people contacted me when it happened. Like, just don't say anything because she's a mother and it's nothing you could ever say that's gonna help you with this. It's not good for you. Just leave it alone and let it happen. But you kind of can't because, your people around you, they want to know, like, wow, what did you do? How did you hurt this mother? What did you do to her? The Grammys happened. I give my speech, of which was not a police brutality, police accountability speech. It was a racial justice speech. It was not just about people being killed by police. It's about a number of issues that I care about and things that I work on, right? So people who said, well, why didn't you have the mothers up there with you? Well, then I would have had to have so first of all, I deserve to be up there because gun violence is a part of what I expect this administration to do, right? Then I would have had to have somebody who has a health crisis, right? Health disparities, Black women who've died because of breast cancer and other things where we know our communities are not treated the same as others. I would have had to have people who died in housing projects because of lead poisoning. Other things, because again, the speech was not about police brutality, although a part of Little Baby's performance was about our brother Rayshard Brooks being killed.
Right. And was that even up to you? Because he asked you to be part of this performance.
Right. He asked, right. And they asked me to do it. But I'm just saying, I could have said, well, I want to also bring someone, and maybe they would have allowed it. But again, my speech, the context of what I'm speaking about is to say to the administration, we want you to go and give us justice, equity, right? And we're demanding these things. It wasn't just about police accountability. Beyond that, when I see this thing from Ms. Rice, where she's saying that I'm a clout chaser and I'm all of the stuff that she said about me, what comes up initially is that I don't know you. I've never met you. I've never worked on her son's situation in relation to her baby being killed. And if there's anything that I blame myself for, maybe it's that. Maybe I should have, I think all of us should have. I think we all failed her because if a child is killed and we don't all run to do everything we can and demand justice, then that's a failure of the entire movement. I accept that. But the personal attack, you don't know me. You know nothing about me. You just went out into the world saying things about me and basically saying, what have I sacrificed as part of this movement? I sacrificed a whole hell of a lot. I may not have lost a child, but certainly I have been a part of and supported a number of individuals who have lost their children. And because I have been working so closely with them, my own child has suffered. Right? So I would never, ever be able to compare to your pain. But I don't think that it's fair to look at me and say that I don't have a right to be an advocate and speak up on behalf of the people and the issues that I care about. And the challenge for me was that while there were people who were like, don't say it, don't say anything, just leave it, right? There were mothers who actually know me, people who work with me, people who've been in the trenches with me, people who I support, people who I still work with. Their child may have unfortunately been murdered 10 years ago, 12 years ago, and I'm still involved with them. I still call them, talk to them, help them, invite them to things, try to give them a platform. I'm not saying we're perfect. I'm sure somewhere along the line, they probably said, well, I don't think Tamika should say these words or do these things. Nonetheless, in terms of my integrity and how I have handled families, how I have handled money, how I have been a part of community in terms of addressing these issues, nobody that I actually work with, no family that I've actually worked with will ever tell you that they feel like I lack integrity or I'm a clout chaser or that I use their child as a benefit to myself and that I don't do anything for families. That's not a thing. Trayvon Martin's mother, Sabrina Fulton, she and I have worked together for years, still very close. Nicole Bell, the wife of Sean Bell, the widow of Sean Bell, work together, still work together. I've worked with people who are gun violence victims. Cheyenne Norman, the mother of Christopher Lloyd Morgan Jr., Shakisha Clemens, attacked by police in a Waffle House in Alabama. Still to this day, I talk to her, help her, invite her to be a part of things that we're doing. Ahmaud Arbery's family, just worked with them recently and continue to work with them. George Floyd's family. I mean, I could go on and on with people who I've touched. Breonna Taylor's family, of course. People who I've touched, people who I've stood next to. Eric Garner's mother, Gwen Carr. These are people I know, people I've actually worked with. So, yeah, that hurts because people, if a mother speaks, people listen and they should. But I think that someone who speaks about you in such a dangerous way should at least know you or know something about you or reach out to you to tell you this is what I feel and try to get some understanding. And in fact, someone from another family, I don't know if they want to be mentioned, so I'll be careful with it, called me after this happened and said, hey, I'm just trying to understand. You know, I met you, you seem to be a good person, but I need to know more about this situation. And I began to say, I don't know. I do not know her. I've never worked with her. And everyone, when they heard that, they're like, what do you mean? It seemed like you had done something directly. And then the other narrative that's out there is that families are after you or families are coming out. There's two people, two mothers who are hurting deeply. But this is not, if you say there's these two people, that their needs need to be addressed. And I'm willing to address them. But if you compare that to the 20 folks that I've actually worked with in my short life, because, you know, I don't work with just 100 families. I don't have the resources nor the time to do that. But if you compare them to people who I actually know, I never met either of these two women. But if you compare them to people I actually know, the storyline is completely different. And I wish that they could get to know me and that we could get to know one another. But the problem is that because they asked for a meeting with me, right? Because they'll respond to when you put the clips out. There will be some whole, well, we asked you and you didn't come. Well, when I was asked to go and meet, I was asked to meet with them alongside other people who have been attacking me on social media, lying, creating false narratives about me, who actually did a session. They did a live together where they said they had been working for years on trying to bring me down. These individuals have actually reached out to other people to try to get them to be a part of smear campaigns against me. So when I responded to the correspondence asking me to meet with Miss Rice and Miss Simpson, my response was absolutely, I'll be there. But number one, I will not meet alongside Black Lives Matter. I love Patrice with all my heart. I love all of the leaders and those people who have brought something like Black Lives Matter to fruition, but I'm not involved in their money. I have nothing to do with it. I don't have any funding that has come to me from them, although I'm going to apply for the next round of funding that they from the money that they have now, but I don't have any money that I've ever received from them. I've not given them, we don't share board members, we don't share anything. So there's no reason for me to go to a meeting where part of the demands is your request for resources from them. I will not be a part of that because the next thing I was there in the room and that happened. The second thing is I will not meet with people who are hostile and lying and creating negative narratives about me online that are not involved specifically with me and you and your child. I will not do that. Thirdly, I would like to have in the room someone like a Bernice King or someone who I believe and trust to be fair. You know, because if you know anything about Bernice King, she's going to tell you no matter what, right? So that Dr. King's daughter, I need somebody to be there in the room who is someone that I trust as well, that is fair and impartial in the discussion, not someone that I see online slandering me, right? I'm not going to do that. And then beyond that, I need it to be recorded. Because exactly what we see happening between Sean King and Miss Rice in this moment is something that I was not going to allow to happen to me. Where I'm saying one thing happened and they're saying something. No, we're going to have, for historic record, and I was willing to pay for her to have a camera and me to have a camera. She could choose whoever she wanted, but I was going to pay for it. The response was the same individuals who had been slandering me all along posted what I wrote back and said that I was awful for the fact that I still wanted to exploit her by filming and recording and, how dare I? This is a game that, unfortunately, Miss Rice, I believe, and Miss Simpson are being used as a part of. And I'm not going to play it with y'all because unlike these individuals that I see online, I've been doing this for far too long. I see the trick bag. I already know it. I see the game. I know what you're doing. I know what you're playing. I know what bringing me into a room where I have no protections. I have no one there that actually can vouch for what actually happened. You want me in a room about money that I don't control. I know where that can go. And maybe they thought I was Bobo the Clown and I wasn't going to get it, but I did. And as soon as I said, no, I'm willing to meet with you, it never happened. Why?
I think it should be said, though, is that, whatever is happening with the Sean King situation, I think is markedly different.
But I'm saying that situation,
right.
that scenario, I'm not saying either way who's right, wrong, or because I wasn't there.
Right.
And that's not my point in this conversation.
Correct.
Let's be clear about that. What I'm saying is there's two different accounts of what took place. And that could be perspective, right? People's feelings, how people enter a conversation can make them feel all types of different things. I wasn't going to be in that situation. I wanted to make sure that it was recorded so that if anywhere the conversation came up, I could always say, this is what actually took place from my perspective. That's all I'm saying.
Well, and people have to understand that in the history of movements, if you want to go back to the civil rights movement, as I'm sure you're well aware of, there was a lot of conflict internally. And yeah, this is kind of a little bit about how it goes. And I know when people, they have these assumptions that everything's always so easy, everybody got to be on the same page. Everybody's often not, but that doesn't mean that progress doesn't still happen as a result.